Hello, dear subscribers. So, I hope you're doing well in the midst of all this turmoil. So, I come across this article at the end of February, an international treaty on pandemic prevention and preparedness. And it has stuck with me every single day these past 15 days. It just wouldn't get out of my mind, honestly. It kept coming up in my mind and in my spirit. I would hear something to the effect that this is the covenant with many of Daniel 9:27. So let us have a look what Daniel 9:27 has to say about it. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Now, this verse has been interpreted many times, and there are many opinions about it, but we're going to take this verse in the context of present day happenings, in the light of what is happening at present. And he shall, who is he? Could it be the WHO? Could it be the WHO? He shall confirm the covenant. Another word for covenant is treaty with many. Therefore, that would be an international treaty for 1 week. Is that 7 years? Is it? And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice in the oblation to cease. What sacrifice? Is it the daily sacrifice? Losing our job if we do not comply with the mandates that have become law as a result of the international treaty, and the oblation to cease, the gathering of Christians to worship. Would that be affected as well as a result of these new laws? And for the overspreading of abominations. What abominations? Is it the fact that those who are taking they have become genetically modified organisms? Is that the abomination? He shall make it desolate. What is he referring to here? Who is he here? Is it the WHO or is it indeed the AC? Even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. What shall be poured here? So I'm asking these questions. I'm leaving it open to your interpretations. I would value your comments at this point. We'll go through this briefly. I will scroll through it, so if you would like to read it all, but we'll go over the most salient points. So as you realize, an international treaty, as we already discussed, is a covenant with many countries. Okay? And this treaty is going to involve legal frameworks. Laws will come, new laws are going to come into effect by 2024. And as a result of those laws, people who do not comply, or countries for that matter, they will be subject to sanctions or fines or imprisonment, all sorts of punishment. So the Council gives green light to start negotiations on international pandemic treaty. And on the 3rd March of this year, the Council adopted a decision to authorize the opening of negotiations for an international agreement on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response. As I said, this is going to involve legal frameworks and the introduction of new legislation and laws. The intergovernmental negotiating body tasked with drafting and negotiating this international instrument, because that's what they call the treaty, an instrument. So you may see it elsewhere written as instrument. Will hold its next meeting on 1st August 2022, again this year, to discuss progress on a working draft. It will then deliver a progress report to the 76th World Health Assembly in 2023 with the aim to adopt the instrument, there you have that word, by 2024. So we know, as we read in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, it says that he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, which we know is translated to mean 7 years. I'm just asking, would the year 2024, when the instrument, the treaty, is adopted, would that be the beginning of the Great Tribulation? I am just asking. I'm not saying emphatically so. What is an international pandemic instrument? So it says that the so-called C-19 pandemic is a global challenge. No single government or institution can address the threat of future pandemics alone. A convention, an agreement, or other international instrument, which the Bible calls a covenant, is legally binding under international law. An agreement on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response adopted under the WHO would enable countries around the globe to strengthen national, regional, and global capacities and resilience to future pandemics. And the island which I live on, a small island, has already accepted to go further with this agreement, and I imagine so with all other countries. So such an instrument would also ensure higher sustained and long-term political engagement, clear processes and tasks, enhance long-term public-private sector support, foster integration of health matters across all relevant policy areas. So they want to create an environment where every scientist, that includes doctors, health workers, and government, can band together for a common cause, working together to build new solutions to protect. So that is when they say peace and safety. What is most precious? Our health and our lives. As I said, I will scroll through this. All right. And they insist that they need that the international community needs to be much better prepared and better aligned in responding to possible future pandemics. Across the entire cycle of detection, which means more rigorous contact tracing and having perhaps devices inserted into people that enable tracking and surveillance. You understand what I'm referring to. The alarm and their response. The instrument would set out objectives and fundamental principles in order to structure the necessary collective action to fight pandemics. And when I read that last bit, to fight pandemics, in my mind, I understand it is meant to say to fight dissidents, those who do not want to comply with mandates, such as those cloths which are worn over faces, those refusing to take the it, and house arrests and the lockdowns. We've been already through it, so now we know they're working on it, whilst the media is trying to divert our attention to a war in Russia and Ukraine, which is a war, a legitimate war in itself, and it's surprisingly linked to all this. Why is it linked? Because this has been denied. See? You see this map? I do not need to say what they are here. You can research the simple what those are. Those have been denied. We've been told that those don't exist. So you have to decide whether they exist or not, those facilities. Okay? Now, you must understand that this, in my opinion, this treaty is using veiled words such as pandemic. We know that pandemics are caused by biological agents and frequencies. We don't have to say what they are. Then also we know that biological agents are not hanging in the air waiting to attack people. No, it doesn't happen that way. Because you must know, for instance, that viruses are what are called obligate parasites, which means they cannot survive out of the host for more than 30 minutes, which means that if it's out there in the wind, in the air, or in the dust, it will perish, it will die. All right? So it needs a host. And as I said, these biological agents are not hanging in the air, waiting to attack people. No, far from it. Rather, they are released from storage. And I'll let you interpret what that word storage is. And they are released into busy places. And a link will be provided below to illustrate how problematic this release into busy places is. Okay? And understand that bioweapons are the weapons of this age. What do I mean by that? I mean that in Matthew chapter 24, verses 6 to 8, we are told, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." And right now we are in the year 2022, and they have set to activate their instrument, their treaty, into the year 2024. So that's a possible indication that the Great Tribulation may be starting in the year 2024. And also, when we read here, nation shall rise against nation, we're seeing that slowly how nations are being dragged into this war. And there have been also past wars as well, for that matter. And kingdom against kingdom. That we understand the kingdom of light against the kingdom of darkness. Famines, we're already seeing empty shelves. Engineered and natural famines, coming together, okay, to cause Holodomor. It is depopulation by starvation. And then you have that word there, pestilences. Now stop there for a moment. Have you ever asked, where are these pestilences coming from? Where are they coming from? We also already defined the fact, we already said that these agents, biological agents, do not hang in the air. All right? They come out from storage facilities. So there will be many pestilences all over the globe. Okay? Africa. Think. I cannot say it directly to you. Outbreaks of Ebola, why? Africa, why? And also those countries where there's war right now, one of them. And even the neighbor who is fighting against it, there were outbreaks. And I'm attaching a link to that. Why? Why is that happening? The microbes, they don't sprout out of the air, as we already defined. Remember, storage, all right, of such bioweapons. And also elsewhere, we've been hearing of localized outbreaks, always in the same spots. Think, just think. So they are saying they want a stronger international health framework with the WHO as the coordinating authority on global health matters. Now, for me, that is saying directly that that's the one word government. Coordinating authority on global health matters. And the One Health approach, connecting the health of humans, animals, and our planet. So it says specifically, such an instrument or treaty can enhance international cooperation, and that means that any countries that do not want to cooperate will be sanctioned very heavily in a number of priority areas, such as surveillance, alerts, response, but also in general trust in the international health system. So, better surveillance at pandemic risks. Ask yourself, how are they going to improve monitoring? They're going to have, as I said, they're going to force it upon more people. So those people can be surveilled and monitored. Better alerts and digital technologies, of course, and innovative tools for data collection. Data collection. Something akin to the swab in the nose. What data collection? Would that include DNA? Health supplies and services. Here, look at this. The sharing of pathogens, biological samples, and genomic data. It's there in your face, genomic data. Being lifted up from every human being and placed in that DNA data bank, as well as the development of timely medical solutions. You see, it is a timely medical solution, in inverted commas, are vital in order to enhance global pandemic preparedness. Vital. What does vital mean? Something that you cannot live without, perhaps? not my own opinion, of course. So the agreement would draw the lessons based on the experience to the access to the C19 Tools Accelerator and other collective instruments developed since the pandemic in order to address global needs more equitably in future pandemics. Better implementation, in my mind, means a stronger legal framework. Restoring trust. Good luck with that. In the international health system. And of course, misinformation threatens public trust and risks undermining public health responses. To redeem citizen trust, concrete measures should be foreseen to improve the flow of reliable and accurate information, as well as to tackle misinformation globally, which means a crackdown on anything that is not aligned with the narrative. And this is interesting. The WHO was founded in 1948 with the mandate to act as the directing and coordinating authority on international health work. It has 194 member states across 6 regions and 150 offices. That's interesting. WHO was founded in 1948 alongside the State of Israel. And this we already read. So this is food for thought. And this was also discussed at the G7 leaders February 2021. I am also attaching a link of a previous president who supposedly has involvement with these storage facilities. Some of you think he may be the AC to come. So you're going to find this very interesting. So I'll leave it at there today. Please share, like this video and subscribe. And I hope that you all have a blessed day. God bless you all.